Wherever you are. Listen, y'all. Dolores Jones, the comeback coach, is in the building. And in effect, I'm doing something that I've never done, but I will do more of this. I am live on 3 of my social media pages today. That's right. The comeback coach. You're either with me on Instagram. Hey, y'all. You're here with me on Facebook, or you are definitely here on my YouTube channel, which is Dolores Jones TV. So check it out. It is time to stop playing small and stop being soft. Now, here's the thing. There is a moment in our lives we can sit here and we can accept what is given, or we can take ownership and start to produce what it is that we want. I had to finally say that this ain't working for me. In other words, have you ever had those moments in your life where you put so much in, you go by, you apply for another job, you get another job, and you look up and you are back in the same place that you were 5 or 10 years prior? That's because, like with New Year resolutions, you don't make a resolution, you have to make a lifestyle change. And in making a lifestyle change, you have to decide, firstly, what is the type of life that you want? And are you going to be committed to this thing? And one of the biggest issues that I had, and I've decided I choose me, is I had to stop being soft. The other day, I heard Oprah Winfrey talking about doing away with the disease to please, meaning people pleasing. Some people are stuck, and I was one of them, because I didn't want to make anybody mad. I didn't want people to think this, and I didn't want people to think that. And I felt like I owed this person that, or I owed this person this. And, you can spend a lot of your life going around in a circle and producing absolutely nothing. Or you can decide, I want better. And so right now, what I want to do is share with you a few tips that have helped me kick my own self in the butt so that I could go to a higher ground. Is that okay? All right. While we are into this conversation, please do me a favor, like and share the video. All right. Like and share the love. Like and share the video. I can see your comments, and I will definitely acknowledge you as often as I possibly can. But as I said before, as we got into this conversation, I am Dolores Jones, the comeback coach. Dolores, what is a comeback coach? A comeback coach is to show you that you can bounce back better, not bitter. Those things happen to you, but those things aren't who you are. You don't have to stay that way. You can use those things to make a difference in your life, firstly, and then in the lives of others. And so one of the things I had to do is to realize, girl, you were the butt kisser. And you don't have to be a butt kisser. You have to stop being soft. You have to get some backbone. You have to get to the point if the person says, I don't like you, and you go, okay. Or as one young woman I know that I follow, her name is Lisa Nichols. For those of you who are familiar with her, she has a company called Motivating the Masses. But it wasn't always like that. I remember Lisa Nichols' story that she had a son. His name was Jelani. And well, he's still alive. And he was wrapped up in a towel because she didn't have $20 to put diapers on his behind. She said, in order to get $20 out of the bank, you have to have $20 in the bank. And here she was struggling. She was struggling. So struggle isn't, it just doesn't, and nobody's just picking on you. It's called life. And so she said, her baby, Jelani, and she said, she looked at Jelani and she said, this will never happen again. Now, she had a baby. The child's father was in prison. That's nothing new. People go to jail all the time. Okay. People die. So being that these things happen, it's like the seasons in the world. You're going to have winter, you're going to have spring, you're going to have fall, and you got to be like in the corner over here. I got some real cute rain boots. I'm in Kansas City right now, right? The other day it was raining. Now the sun is shining. A few days ago, I felt like I was, having my own personal summer at 52 years old, honey. Cut the hair off, was just in the swimming pool with the bikini on. Okay. Listen, you have to understand, It's going to happen. Things are cyclical. But here's the thing, you don't get to fall out every time the seasons change. You got to be prepared. And that's what it means about stop being soft. So here she was, Lisa. And Lisa was told by a teacher that should never write anything. She's on her seventh book called Abundance Now. She has over, was it 80 million followers? The young woman who did not have $20. But what Lisa decided is she said, she was on a job. And for some of us, we need to understand that if never take advice from people you wouldn't trade places with. And so when I've spoken to or heard other entrepreneurs or people who've decided to take ownership, they said a job is the journey of the broke, baby. That's right. So you have what it takes to build the life that you want. I was on a session call, a free strategy call with Mia Rhetoric, a multimillionaire now. She started 20 years ago. The other day, I was on Facebook. She offered a free seminar, a webinar. I said, Dolores Jones, what are you doing? The webinar started in 15 minutes. I was like, you know what? I'm going to find the 15 minutes and put my behind on there. And I got to listen to her free thing. And next thing you know, I scheduled a free session. And you know what Mia told me? She said, Dolores, you are a giant. You are amazing. But then she said to me, what happens when you get scared? And I said, well, Mia, I run and I hide. And anyone who knows me, that's gotten close enough to me to see this sort of part of Dolores, they'll go, Dolores, why do you keep running and hiding? Because I was soft. I was afraid of what people were going to say about me, afraid of being rejected. Baby, I'm 52 right now. You know what God showed me? He said, baby girl, I gave you 5 decades and then some. Your mom passed away when she was 21 years old, and all you wanted was to be 21. And I exceeded your expectation. And everything that you went through, from the divorce to the abuse to the manipulation, none of that stopped me. So I had to shift my perspective. So when you stop being soft, you work on that mindset and you understand. And I had to understand that power belongs to God. And either I'm going to believe that or I am not. So when I was talking to Mia Rhetoric, she's like, where have you been? And I'm asking the same thing to some of you. But the beautiful thing that I understood about what Mia was saying to me is she saw me. And a lot of you see yourselves, but you keep referring back to what somebody else said versus what is. God is. It is now. N-O-W. No opportunity wasted. And so when I listened to Mia and found out that Mia Rhetoric hadn't taken on any free strategy calls in several years, it is my time. This is your season. The last time I stepped in a classroom, y'all, was in February 22nd to be exact. I had decided that I was going to go back to the school district and work as a teacher. We all have good intentions, right? And baby, I walked up in one of them classrooms when I could have this classroom right here, making hundreds of thousands on top of what I was making in a classroom with kids. But the kids start cursing me out. I was like, not today, devil, not now, not never. But y'all know what was really going on. I was still hiding. You ever done that? My friend Marshall, she's in Egypt. Hey, Marshall, I know you watching. I said, Marshall, I'm going to go be a teacher. She said, Dolores Jones, why do you want to be a teacher? Why are you going to do that now? You've been on the radio 15 years. You was a radio personality. That's admirable. But you're a speaker, girl. Everybody that talks to you, even Mia Rhetoric, who didn't know me from Adam until, she didn't know me until a couple of days ago. She said, you're an amazing storyteller. Marshall found a video of mine. She met me from social media. She said, you're an amazing storyteller. I majored in journalism. I always said I wanted to tell stories, but you know what happened? Somebody told me I wasn't good enough. And you know what I did? I went and started hiding in the old little stinky tapes, those little stinky tapes in my head, that stinking thinking. And when I would get close to it, I would get scared. Can you relate? Well, baby, when you're done being soft, you don't have time for fear. You got to look fear in the face and say what Kirk Franklin said. He said, hello, fear. You got to start having a conversation. And I had just decided, you know what? I got to do better. 52 and I'm back where I was years ago. Something's wrong. And nothing's wrong with my talent. And that's what Mia said. And that's what Marshall said. And there's some other people said. What was wrong was my method. The method. My behavior patterns rooted in fear. So you can talk a good game all day long. That at some point you have to put up or shut up. Is that how they said it on the court? You're going to have to put up or shut up. And babies, let me tell y'all something. When I quit my job, walked away from the job, and I filed for short-term disability, which was in February. Today is 23rd. Do you know they have still yet to approve my disability for me being up in there having post-traumatic stress? And so what I was doing, which makes sense to me, I'm sitting there just being comfortable because I'm like, okay, they're going to give me my money, right? Because I paid into this. Baby, they called me the other day and said they weren't going to do it. I said, the devil is a liar. But then I had to ask myself a question. I said, wait a minute, Dolores Jones, you have not worked since February 22nd. Do you mean to tell me for the last 45 days or so, you sat here and waited for them to approve something that could or could not come through, and you would not, and you did not utilize the gifts and the callings that God has given you and sit your butt down and teach and give what you can give? I was like, And when I talked to Mia Rhetoric, she said, Dolores, where's the offer? She said, sweetheart, she says, nobody can give you anything if you don't have an offer. And if you don't have a way for the person to pay it. And see, the problem is I didn't see the value. And that's part of that being soft. Because if you weren't going to stand in your greatness, who else is? You got to learn to pat your own self on the back. I had to look up and say, wait a minute, God, wait a minute. You gave me how many decades? 5? I was 5 when my mom passed away of an overdose of heroin. You kept my mind. My God, today I get happy. And let me tell y'all something. I'm unapologetically grateful. That means I will cry in a minute. I might even get up and jump, do a backward flip and get back down. Come on now. Come on. Because it gets to a point, you stop being soft when you recognize power belongs to God and that you beat out 400 million sperm, if we want to get technical about it. But you're still worried about what so-and-so said and so-and-so said. And half the people that you're still worried about, some of them are dead. I was just talking to my grandmother because our family has experienced loss after loss. And she got to saying, some of the people who expected her to die first are already gone. It is that your testimony. Why are you still sitting there, sitting on your behind? I'll tell you why, because you're being soft. You haven't made up your mind to accept the fact that you're just amazing. You're incredible. But being incredible alone is not going to get it. So let me give you a couple of those tips. First of all, you have to be consistent. I was consistent with running. Consistently running, baby. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to make money. But if I know that there's so much more that I can do, not if I know, since I know. Since I know. People don't have to just say nice things. It's like one of the coaches that I was talking to. She says, I'm not saying this for your ego. I'm telling you this because you're true. I could sit here and listen to you. But if you don't have an offer, why don't you have an offer? Well, I remember when so-and-so said you ain't funny. Well, he said, but guess what? Nothing from nothing leaves what? Nothing. So if I continue to listen to that I will have absolutely nothing in my bank account. And I told you in my other video on my page called When You Panic, Keep Your Panties On. The problem is some of us are so quick to believe a system that worked for somebody else that you think your only claim to fame is your behind, but it's really your mind. And if you don't sit down and work on it, you got to work on it. This stuff don't just happen overnight. The other thing about stop being so soft, you need to find like-minded people who are going in another direction. You mad somebody done walked away. Guess what? They weren't going in the first place. And I know that's hard to believe, but we grew up in kindergarten together, baby. That was kindergarten. Because we are all adults. We're free agents. I can decide to go this direction, or I can decide to go that direction. And there's somebody who said it like this: you are what you repeatedly do. You are what you repeatedly do. So you can't sit there and say, well, my mama name came home and blah, blah, blah. One of the kids that was cussing and carrying on at school they said, Miss Jones, her mama dead. I said, my mama dead, but that don't give me a right to stand there and cuss a teacher out. I'm sorry your mama died. My mama died. It was terrible. 21 years old, graduating from a junior college. 21 February 17th was her 21st birthday. She was going to graduate that May. My mama died. She didn't get to see me go to kindergarten. I remember the ABC dress. See, what happens too is sometimes we think that we have to get a degree for somebody to, what do you call it? Qualify us to give something that somebody can use. But what you make it through in your life is called a soft skill, called life. I've been sitting on this stuff. How do you bury a mother and keep moving? Well, I can tell you, the grace of God. Also, the ability to get back up. The other thing is to find out who you really are. And as somebody once said, you got to find out who you can count on and who you got to count out. Can I be honest? This is going to be free, but don't tell them I told you this. Some of them people in your family, just because they skin folk don't mean they kin folk. And just because y'all got the same DNA, baby, does not mean that person came to stay. It's unfortunate, but it's the reality. And that's also stop being soft. That means stop lying. People, it's all on the wall. You know that person. Y'all brothers and sisters just because y'all share the same daddy, maybe. But if the person's heart ain't right and they ain't down for you, then baby, you just got to keep on keeping on. What I had to learn as the eldest is that I was starting to be committed to dead things. Can you relate to that? You see it, you see what it is, and you know every time it goes down, it's the same outcome. And you go tell your friend who's going to listen, but when a person is your real friend, they're going to say, stop it. Why do you keep going around and around and around and around expecting a different result? That's what you call a fool. That's foolish. I'm going to keep doing this over and over again. This time, okay, come on, lucky seven. Come on. No, life isn't like craps and snaps, whatever you call it, game. If a person shows you that they're not down with you, they're not down with you. You heard the story. We're talking about stop being so soft. In other words, stop being stupid too. Stop being so stupid. Stop being stupid. You know that ain't spiritual. That's stupid. That's just stupid. Stupid is and stupid does. That's just stupid and harder than that. See, some of us don't want to speak up because we don't want other people to really know how smart we are. Because you were quiet, but baby, and sometimes you were taught to be quiet because some of us are taught that kids are to be seen and not what? Heard. I know you feel that in, but baby, you're not a kid anymore. You're a grown person. But sometimes you have childish ways. What did the word say? When I was a child, I spake as a child. But you're not a child anymore. See, so you get to decide what side you want to be, who you're going to be. But at the end of the day, this is your life. You've got to stop being soft. Oprah Winfrey talked about it. You know, she was talking about she would say yes to everything. And when she finally, became the Oprah that we know, her business was out there. She said people were showing up at her apartment. Oprah, my husband left me. And she was like, okay, here's the checkbook. And she had to unlearn some stuff. She had to learn that you could say no. And she said the first person she tried that out on was Stevie Wonder. Because see, somebody's going to love you. They're going to love you. So she said, you mean I can say no? So Stevie Wonder contacted Oprah and wanted Oprah to give a donation to a charity. And she told him no. And he said, okay. And she said, okay. He said, okay. So you can't buy love. You can't buy loyalty. You don't want that. You want it when the rubber meets the road. And unfortunately, it's not going to be a lot of people there because some people, we just keep passing on those behaviors. But when you decide to be an individual and decide to be the type of person you want to be, then you get to decide to make the decisions and the changes that are necessary for you to have the life that you want so you can be strong. So let the weak say that I'm strong. I ain't got to kiss your butt. I ain't got to suck up. You put your pants on the same way I put mine on. Wait a minute. The only reason I end up in this relationship with you is because I didn't know who I was. Sometimes we get into places because we're vulnerable and we don't know any better. I was living in an abandoned house. I was living in a motel when I met the man that I married off of a false prophecy. Listen, y'all, I'm telling y'all some stuff because I want y'all to hear this from me, right? This man gave me $40. He was like the first man to show me kindness, meaning my father wasn't there. And I ain't even going to get stuck on that because that's not going to serve me. See, that's called being soft. Oh, he never showed up. He missed out. But this man saw that I was in a vulnerable place. And I was like, oh my God, he really cares. Baby, everybody got an agenda. You just better hope that yours is pure. That's how he got in. And I didn't know any better. And then I didn't trust myself. Mia, during one of our calls, she said, Dolores, you need to learn to trust yourself enough to try. That's what stop being soft is about. Trust yourself enough to try. At least try it before you count yourself out. They said, I'll never be able to go to school. Like the teacher who told Lisa Nichols not to write. And Lisa Nichols, we're sitting here talking about Lisa Nichols. I don't even remember the name of the teacher. The teacher probably dead and gone. Lisa Nichols is her 7th book called Abundance Now, living in another part of the world with her husband. Jelani is a grown man now, probably working on his own family. Lisa has a company called Motivating the Masses. She started with high school kids. She's motivating other women, millionaires around the world. What am I trying to say? Stop being soft means you also got to have a vision. But here is the piece of it. Here's the piece. And I so agree with what Bishop T.D. Jakes was talking about. He said, visionaries see things as the way they could be. He said, but the challenge and the burden is you can see what God has promised you, but you come back into a reality that is very different on your way to where you're trying to go. And that's where I would get smacked. But, right. Like I knew God told me years ago, baby, God told me this. I was living, how old was I by then? Like 19 years old. He said, I'm going to make you great. God, I just came out of a homeless situation. Drugs in the home, to bury my mom. Wait a minute. I'm on my knees. This doesn't even make sense because God doesn't have to make sense. He says, I will use the foolish things of the world to confound the wise. That's why people are like, okay, now tell me your story again. Now you were born to a 15-year-old single mother. Uh-huh. Yes. All right. She was dead by the time she was 21. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Okay. Wait a minute. And then drugs was in the home again? Yes. So you were in high school and you didn't have water and lights? No. You were bathing in the basement of a junior college and that's how you went to school? Yes, sir. You said you wanted to be like Oprah. You found out she went to journalism school. So you went away to Mizzou. You got accepted and you didn't even know that you needed a down payment. But this doesn't make sense, right? And you're smiling because you don't have to look like what you've been through. But let me tell you this, stop being soft meant for me. It's not just about an ABC or a PhD. I had to have my BA, my born again experience with God and God and his indwelling spirit of the Holy Spirit. But most importantly, my private time. Because see, there's spiritual, natural, physical. I would lie to you if I said it was a one-sided thing. There's always different sides to the story. But it's like this song I was listening to earlier today, led by Fantasia, and the song Necessary. And she said, I am who I am today because of how God used my mistakes. It's necessary. See, we want it, but we don't understand the process. I'm here in Kansas City, as I told you all, and for the first time ever, the National Football League, the NFL draft is here. And I was telling people, I said, "Hey, any mighty mo, we gonna go catch Kansas City by the toe." No, there was a victory, Super Bowl victory. These men had to get the heck out. But a lot of people, some people skip. They said, no, Kansas City hadn't won no Super Bowl in over 20 years. I'm out and signing another contract. I'm an independent, whatever. Hey, to each his own. But for those who decided to stay, they saw the potential, whatever, they got the ring. And then, we didn't hit it the next year, but then we hit it again. And now, oh my goodness. So, but see, if we were just winning every time I win, no matter what, the hypeness would be, but we were the underdogs. I wish I could tell you how I feel it. I hope you feel it how I'm telling it. I'm Dolores Jones. Comeback coach. Stop being soft. Well, he said he wasn't going to call me. Okay. Some of us are messed up, and this is why. Because we don't remember or believe that we're the prize. We don't remember we're the prize. We don't. Girl, I used to be on that phone. Did he call me? Hello? Oh. Back before they had cell phones, you had to sit at home. And I would just be sitting at home like that. He didn't call. And that joker he hurt my feelings one day. I said, you didn't call. I said, what were you doing? He said, I wasn't with you. That's because I didn't know who I was. See, that's why some people don't want you to grow in your understanding. Because once you get a glimpse of what you are capable of doing and who you really, really are, oh, baby, you wouldn't give certain people time of day. But when you're operating from a deficiency, not enough. The formative years, studying. I'm a master's level social worker as well. Just because I used to tell people when I was speaking, I said, just because you're struggling don't mean you're stupid. You ain't got to be stupid. You do know that, right? When I caught that Metro bus down to that junior college, before the teachers got there and went in the basement to the restroom and locked the door and opened up a paper bag. That's all they had back then. I pulled out a bar of soap, a towel, toothpaste, toothbrush, hit all the hot spots, and began to quote a scripture or sing something that my great-grandmother gave me, because sometimes all you got is what you got, and you got to use what you got, and it'll work if you work it. Maintained a 4.0 GPA the first semester. Why? I was intentional. I stayed at school until the school closed. Did homework by candlelight. But you know what's interesting? Sometimes when you're in the struggle, you really don't see the significance or the value because you're going through it. But when you grow through it and you take the time to step back and go, wait a minute, what am I working with? But some of us won't. You know why? Because we're on to the next thing. And what I mean by that is, here in America, I know this a lot. We're not taught to be entrepreneurs. No. You're taught to go work for somebody else. But now, if that's not working for you, then don't do that. That's the other part. Why do you keep doing it? When you grow up and welfare is, when I was a little girl and you couldn't go into the eyeglass place and get what you wanted, they had this little section over here. This is for Medicaid. You're with Medicaid. I don't want them green glasses. I remember telling my grandmother that I don't want them green glasses. Elementary school wore them ugly glasses. And the kid just came and just smacked my face and smacked the glasses right off my face for no reason at all. Sometimes we're given that. So you think life is the same way. Dolores, now you can go online now and buy your own glasses, baby girl. You don't have to go over to this section and pick up the ugly glasses that you don't own. What we're talking about is stop being soft. You got to learn to speak up for yourself. But I know sometimes people get angry too. We're angry. And it made me think of this my thought. Hey, Jason, and all of you all, you know I appreciate y'all. One of my professors from the school I was at, it was Donnelly College, Dr. Chuck Wilson, had no idea that I was a homeless student, Donnelly, for 2 years straight with a 4.0 GPA. And I was a commencement speaker. And I began to share, and my teachers were baffled. Like, wait a minute, this girl who came to school every day on time, She never ever missed a day. All the homework was on point. He hired me as an adjunct professor many years later when he was a dean of social services at another college. He brought me in one day and he sat me down because some of us are a little rough around the edges. So some of us are softened and some of us like, he was like, I just said good morning. You know, some of that stuff you have to learn. He sat me down and he said, Dolores, I said, yes, Dr. Wilson. He said, I want you to know you don't have to struggle like you did back then. My God. I understand what he meant. He said, I was always in fight mode. But what he was saying is, sweetheart, you're not homeless anymore like that. So you don't have to come at it from that angle. You can appreciate the battle. You can appreciate where you are. But I want you to know that's not where you live anymore. And some of us have to learn to, fine tune and not scratch people's head and eyeballs and stuff out. That's why we need therapy. See, when you stop being soft, it's not that nobody can't tell you anything. It's that you're looking for the right thing. The right thing. I had to sit myself down. Spiritual. They said first spiritual, first natural, then spiritual. Okay, Dolores, you're dealing with depression. Okay, what does that mean? Okay, but I can say now, after 19 years of being on antidepressants, I'm antidepressant free. And see, I didn't even know that might be something I could sell or offer to show people how to come off of that stuff. Because I was so used to this pattern. Let me go on here and get this application. Y'all want to go ahead on. I know. I'm going in here. And then, you're sitting there, you got so much to offer, but you're so used to just one way. And I don't oppose not working. What I'm saying is there's so much more. When will you take the time to look and see, what is that I have? What is it? What is it? We're going into a little bit longer of the video today, and that's okay. But I definitely want to give you a couple of bullet points as promised that I wrote down, that I pray and hope that you will take and start to feast on it. Number one, you got to stop making excuses, honey. Stop making excuses. Call it what it is. If you're lazy, if you're afraid, if you're ill-equipped, if you're broken, call it what it is. Nobody comes in the world perfect. Okay? Be honest with yourself. Because this ain't working. One of my friends, and she is a friend, they saw me on television. They saw me doing so many great things, but they didn't get close enough to see the brokenness, right? But eventually I let this particular person get close to me, and she just didn't understand how I could be so talented and be broke. Like not having money. She's like, but you're, because people show up good, right? Okay. But one day she says, I got a word for you, Dolores. And I said, what is? She says, you're a beautiful disaster. Now, see, if I didn't know her like I know her and I didn't know her motive, she wouldn't be my friend. But I understood what she was saying. She says, how could you be so powerful, but so, your life is a mess. It was a mess. I could talk a good game. I knew how to do that. Some of us are still doing it. You could talk, but when it's time to walk, I didn't want to own my greatness. Y'all know, some of you all know I do TV and see greatness. There's a light. There's going to be light on you. And some of y'all don't want the light. When I'm at the TV station, baby, those lights are like 1,000,000 times hotter than your average light. And you got to learn how to deal with that. But some of us don't, because sometimes you got threatened, right? So we say, our Kansas City Star wrote a huge, beautiful article about me back in 2002. My son was 2 years old. And I was excited. It was above the fold. Anybody in print, that means that's big time. It was a whole write-up. And I was excited. And they found out about me, this girl from Kansas who was now on the radio and taking people through a GED program and talking about her life story and being homeless and all this other stuff. But the person I really wanted to be proud of me wasn't. Oh, she was pissed. And she basically threatened me, if you ever, I'm going to do A, B, C. And I believed her. And after that huge story, I just started shrinking and shrinking and shrinking and shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. And I was telling someone the other day, I said that even during the interview for this newspaper, the reporter had to stop me because the reporter was like, I'm sure that person is great, Dolores, but this interview is about you. Can you relate to that? That you've been in a bad, you were in the wrong hands. Somebody dropped you. They say hurting people hurt people. I get that. But baby, walking through the valley of that, let me tell you something. And the years of coming through it and trying to heal from it and not pass it on. And then what do you do when you see the person and you want to say some things, just a lot of conflicting. But don't worry, I'll have an offer so you can walk through that. But just shrinking. And I could show up, but then not only show up, but you got to turn up, you got to deliver, right? So stop making excuses. The other thing, dare to believe. Just say, you know what? I'm going to believe that I can do this. I'm going to believe I can do it. Even if you run, at least try it. Just try it. Essence Magazine is like one of the most notable magazines for the African American community. And I was at an event one year, and Susan Taylor was editor-in-chief of Essence Magazine. And I was in the line, and I had my resume and my book. Everybody wanted to get an autograph, but this up and coming journalist, I was like, I'm gonna take my resume. Because it's in you, right? It's in you. That greatness is in you. That boldness is in you. And you're like just testing the water. You're testing the water. And so I got up there and I was like, hi, Mrs. Taylor. My name is Dolores Jones. I'm from Kansas City. And I'm a journalist. And I was wondering, can I give you my resume? Now, all the other ladies are like, what is she talking about? She got her book. Girl, she just asked if she could give her resume. And Susan Taylor goes, of course you can. And I was like, I can? So I handed her my resume. And she handed me her business card. Because you feel it, it's in you, right? And I thought I was just going to pee on myself because I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I stepped out my comfort zone. And she signed my book and I ran in the restroom and I ran in a stall and I was hiding. And I could hear the women saying, what happened? What happened to that girl, that tall girl? What did she give her? She gave her resume. Well, what did she do? So I came on back to Kansas. I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. So I just took the card and I just kept looking at it. I put it on the dresser. Now, Susan's waiting for me to call. But in my mind, I don't think I'm, that tug of war. So I pick up the phone. Hi, Susan Taylor's office. I was like, hi, is this the Susan Taylor's office? Yes, it is. Okay. I mean, like the Susan Taylor's office? Yes. Okay, bye-bye. And I hung up. Maybe a week or so later, I called back. Essence Magazine, Susan Taylor's office. How can I help you? Hi, like, is this the Susan Taylor's office? You ever been so close to something you just can't believe that it's for you? Because you still are holding on to old mindsets and experiences? Yes, it is. Would you like me to transfer you? Yes. Hi, Susan Taylor. Please leave a message. I hung up the phone. I can't make this up. Y'all, I was so distracted in my own head, in my own life, that it might have taken me a couple of years. I finally pick up the phone. This is going to be the day. Essence Magazine. Hi, may I speak to Susan Taylor, please? Oh, we're sorry. Susan Taylor is no longer with Essence Magazine. Damn. Good times, y'all. I lost it. I missed that opportunity. Missed that opportunity. It had to be like 5 years. I never left a message. And then one time she was in Kansas City. And I said, this is it. I'm going to go up to her. And I made it closer. And she says, you look familiar. You look 5 years. Because see, you make an impression. But people are not going to fight you for your success. You do understand that, right? They're not just going to come running you down. Dolores, come back. We got a speaking engagement for you. We got a $150,000 contract over here. We're going to come to Wyandotte County and find you. Huh? No. Oh, y'all. But guess what? Here's another reason you have to stop being soft. Fast forward. The Oprah Winfrey Show called. Dolores Jones, yes, this is Erica, the Oprah Winfrey Show. We want to invite you to Chicago. Chicago, shut up! Now I have worked and waited and worked for 18 years for this opportunity, y'all. And I almost didn't go. Because, see, well, I thought Oprah knew that I was like separated from my husband. They don't care. And I wasn't going to go. And my friend Jatina, she said, Dolores May Jones, if you don't get your tail on that plane and go to Chicago. And I had my vision board this time, and I had pictures of Oprah on it, and Oprah got to see my vision board, and she called me center stage, and I'm in this book, my story from poverty to prosperity, in the book called Come On the Path from Victim to Victor. There's Oprah center stage. She's crying. I'm crying. I'm like, I'm in the book. She's like, I know. Oh my God. After the show, I had a book deal sitting in front of me. What did I do? I looked at the card. I put it on the dresser. Should I call? I was conflicted, like some of you. Because, see, you can't stop being soft until you decide who you really are going to be. Can I say that again? You cannot stop being soft if you don't decide who you want to be. And it's already been decided that you're great. God makes no mistakes. Now, either I could live in my head where the pain was, or I could go in and change the mindset and ask God to heal my heart and begin to speak things that be not as though they were, and to operate from that vein. And I know y'all gonna say, Dolores, tell me that you called the people and you did the book. Y'all, I did not. End up having a fight with my husband and ended up in the hospital. But baby, guess what I did? I wrote a book that you can buy soon called Stop the Dumb Stuff. Dumb stands for destructive, unsettling, miserable behavior. I'm not done with this video, but I'm going to stop. The book Stop the Dumb Stuff is already written. It's published. I'm just putting it back out there because I decided to stop being soft. See, being soft, you're discrediting everything that you've been through. And I had to tell myself, Dolores Jones, you do know Oprah Winfrey don't just let people come and talk to her like that. See, being soft, meaning you don't even know how to listen to yourself because you spend so much time listening to other people. And you have to ask yourself, do they have your best interest at heart? Now, you didn't get in this situation overnight. Okay, you do know that, right? Okay. But the beautiful thing is, you can evolve and come out. And that's what my offer to you is going to be. The comeback experience, honey, because you got comeback power. But I would do you a disservice if I said, hey, work with me for 3 hours. No, honey, it's a process. And you have to decide, how bad do you want it? If you're tired of people stomping on you and walking over you and you walking over yourself and you quitting on yourself because it's uncomfortable, winners understand that you got to get comfortable being uncomfortable. That's what champions do, baby. One day you might win the game. I know basketball's out there right now. The Lakers may have won and then maybe they lose, but that's an uncomfortable place. But you got to be coming back like Mamba, like Kobe Bryant, who had the highest number of missed shots. But guess what? He was willing to take more than the average person. He had the most missed free throws, but at least he was on the line, baby. You got to stop being soft. Stop asking for permission and serve notice. Well, I don't have to ask you if I can be great. I don't have to ask. What? Wait a minute. It was already but predestined, pre-qualified. Do the work. You got to do. Got to make a commitment. And so, let me say, I told myself just the other day, actually, that every day I will spend at least 2 hours on my offer and my online stuff because I realized I wasted time waiting for the people to give me a decision about a disability that I believe my money they owe me, but that wasn't going to pay my bills. That didn't stop the eviction notice, right? And I can sit here and say the devil is a lie all day, but the reality is there's so much more that I bring to the table, but it's up to me to decide to use it. And if I'm afraid, I have to just say, God, I'm afraid, but please help me. It says, help my unbelief. You don't have to go around with your hand held out like that. I just surrender. Okay, God, what do you want me to do? Be persistent. Be consistent. If I don't want it, I want it. Right? Do I want to come up here? Then I need to get to walking. And then shutting down the negative conversation. Yeah, now you must believe this. I'm being as transparent as I possibly can because I believe that's what is necessary. But as I'm doing videos, you need to understand this, that I'm breaking out of a place that held me bondage. Do you think that place wants to just let me go? So that critic, we're our own worst critic, could say, and it said it before, I can't believe you said that on the video. Did you see your lipstick? How was your hair? Blah, blah, blah. Things that are so insignificant. So you keep doing it. You override it. You override it. And then you press delete. You delete. And it's like the more you do it, the easier it is. I went roller skating last night. I hadn't been on my roller skates in years, y'all, because I broke my leg. But baby, it felt so good to be back on them roller skates. And I was getting it in, and I was getting it in. And I bought some Bengay and everything. I was at that Walmart, honey. I got that Bengay, I got them BC headache powders, and I was rubbing it down and rubbing it down. And then I got to thinking about the real champions, the people who are at the top of their games, those that know how to take a licking and keep on ticking. And I was like, well, so-and-so, I'm sure he probably hurt his leg or broke his leg when he was playing this, or she might have done that in the WNBA, but she's back. So what did she have to do? She had to get in there and condition it and stretch it. And I want you to think about that as far as your mind is concerned as well. Because as I often would tell my son, who will be 25 in May, I used to say to him as I was working with him and correcting him, I said, Ricky, listen, I'm going to put something on your mind. I'm going to put something on your behind. Which one is it going to take? Are you done bumping your head? Are you ready to think differently? They said you bring about what you think about. And if you sit back and take some time to really think about what I'm saying to you right now, and you look at your life, the trajectory of your life, you have a lot to do with that. Because either somebody came in your life because you felt like that's what you needed, or you didn't take an advantage of a situation because you deserved it, or you just didn't do anything because you just thought, well, what's the use? But you notice it was all about what you were thinking. But I want to thank you for spending some of your afternoon with me. We got things to do, baby. You're stronger than that. You're smarter than that. And yes, you can do this. And you will cry. Believe me, but you don't have to die. You might feel like you are, right? But believe me. The eagles fly above the storm, baby. But did you know the eagles have 2 sets of eyelids? Uh-huh, 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 uh-huh. In other words, wherever you're trying to go, you need to study the people who are already there. And I just want to thank those that are already there, those that have taken the time to stop me on the street, those coaches who could have charged me stuff and said, girl, you're one of us, from men and female speakers and trainers. They're like, what? Wait a minute. What do you mean? You're not on the panel? I just Got a special shout out to my friend Dalmar. Dalmar used to tell me, he said, Dolores Jones, you can't just show up to everything. You're too easily accessible. See, that's why you don't see your value. You know, if you can get something easily, you know, yeah, anybody gonna pay for that. They can always get that. They can always get that. You can put that wherever you want, that whole thing. And I said to Dalmar, I said, oh, Dalmar, I'm just a girl from Kansas. He said, never say that again. He said, don't you ever say that again. You see, I shot it down. The light, my light shining so bright. And I said, oh, I'm just a girl from Kansas. No, you're more than just a girl from Kansas. No, you're more than a guy just from Kansas or Africa or New York or wherever you're from. Baby, you've been through some things and you're still standing. Now you got the soft skills, you got the hard skills. You got a lot to work with, but you got to stop being soft. Stop kissing tail. If they don't like it, then it ain't for them. Visualize going to the grocery store right now. I want you to walk down the aisle, go to the bread aisle. Do you know how many different types of breads are there? Tons. But I found the one that works for me. So should I have told the other person that, you know, you shouldn't have made that bread? They don't care. They knew that there was a market for that bread. And the bread is selling. It's just not for me. So I go on down here to Sara Lee. And then when I'm open to trying something else or another brand, I may discover something even better or something in addition to. So if you think about that, don't just shut yourself out, your scope, your service because somebody else is doing it. Because here's the thing, can't nobody do it like you. Can't nobody do it like you because nobody else is you. Nobody has your perspective. Nobody else has your testimony. You may have a similar experience because as quiet as it's kept, there are people who have died going through the things that you've already experienced and that you have survived. I know this to be true. So why not make it work for you? All right. If you want to reach me, you all, listen, right now, just DM me either in Instagram or DM me on YouTube or Facebook as me and my, people, we put the structures together. So as this offer is coming forward, you know how to access it and you be a part of the community, be a part of the program. I'm just excited because I know that there's a champion in you. I know that there's a champion in you. I know you're stronger. I know you're better. I know you're wiser. You don't need to take that to your grave. Make it work for you. No more sad stories. You're not a sucker. Stand up. Brush yourself off. Square your shoulders back. We fall down. We get back up. All right? Les Brown said, if you can look up, you can get up. Fall on your back. Look up. I will look unto the hills from which my help cometh. And all my help cometh from heaven, from the Lord who made heaven and the earth. Maury, my shield and the lifter up of my head. And I am Dolores May Jones, and I approve this message. Now go be great. And I'll see you again real soon. I guarantee it. Bye, y'all.